Watch Raptors player nonchalantly pull down his shorts in the middle of a game. The one thing that remains puzzling about the Blue Jays' handling of Edwin Encarnacion is the team's quick pivot to Kendrys Morales in free agency. If Encarnacion's agent, Paul Kinzer, made a questionable decision by failing to seize upon the Jays' initial four-year, $80 million offer, didn't the club also misread the market? Few question Morales' offensive ability. As a switch hitter, he will help balance the Jays' lineup. But at 33, he is only 5 months younger than Encarnacion. And the trade and free agent markets included plenty of other left-handed hitting options, some of whom, unlike Morales, also add defensive and base running value. The free agent class included Dexter Fowler, Josh Reddick, John Jay, switch hitter Carlos Beltran and several others who remain unsigned, Luis Valbuena, Michael Saunders, Brandon Moss, Pedro Alvarez, Colby Rasmus. The trade market included, and still includes, the Mets' Jay Bruce and Curtis Granderson, Yankees' Brett Gardner and Mariners' Seth Smith. The Jays might view Morales on a 3-year, $33 million deal as better than all of those alternatives, and remember, they scored big with their early signings of free agent pitchers J.A. Happ and Marco Estrada last offseason, both of which were questioned at the time. Still, if the Jays truly wanted Encarnacion, they could have kept their options open and allowed him to explore the market. Both the Dodgers' Justin Turner and Pirates' Ivan Nova returned to their respective clubs for less money than they sought initially in free agency. The Blue Jays, by contrast, made Encarnacion a seemingly modest offer in spring training, a 2-year extension with 2 option years and a reworking of his $10 million salary in 2016, according to Rogers Sportsnet. They then made him what proved to be a take-it-or-leave-it proposal before the market opened, one that he was likely to refuse so early in the process, even though it proved better than the deal he ultimately landed with the Indians. Rarely do major free agents resign with their teams days before other clubs can start bidding, and rarely do teams act so abruptly when trying to retain star players. The Jays signed Morales on November 18, then all but ended any chance of keeping Encarnacion by adding Steve Pearce on December 5. The Jays' assessment of Morales versus Encarnacion might prove correct, particularly since they landed Morales at just over half of his price. But MobTradeRumors.com ranked Morales the 22nd best free agent, between Mike Napoli and Greg Holland. Fangraphs had Morales at number 29, between Valbuena and Brad Ziegler. He was in the top 4 on both those lists. Even if Morales flew off the board, as the Jays apparently suspected he would, the team would have had plenty of time to adjust. Heck, they even could have brought back Edwin Encarnacion, at what proved to be a reduced rate. Speaking of misreading the market, one rival GM says the Mets should have declined Jay Bruce's $13 million option, then signed a comparable player, maybe even Bruce, for far less. The GM contends the Mets knew that Bruce was in relatively low demand when they acquired him at the non-waiver deadline, and that his subsequent struggles only made him less attractive in a trade. Bruce, though, still finished with 33 homers, 99 RBIs and an .815 OPS. The Mets were not unreasonable to think they could move him, even in a crowded market. And they needed him to protect against the possible loss of Yoenis Cespedes, whom they resigned to a 4-year, $110 million deal. As one Mets official said, when you buy insurance, it doesn't come for free. That insurance might even have helped the Mets with Cespedes, improving their leverage by helping them avoid appearing desperate. Fair enough, but this isn't likely to end well for the Mets. Chances are, they will need to include cash in any trade of Bruce, and even then they still figure to receive a minimal return. The sharp decline in the money spent on free agents from last offseason to this offseason is nothing short of stunning. The biggest reason for the drop-off likely is the poor quality of the current free agent class, But many agents remain concerned that the relatively small increase in the luxury tax thresholds under the new CBA also is inhibiting spending. In 2015-16, 6 teams spent $218 million or more on free agents, and 3 more were above $100 million. The Dodgers are the top spender this offseason at $192 million, and only 2 other teams, the Mets and Cardinals, are above $100 million. Meanwhile, 18 teams, more than half the sport, have spent under $30 million, as opposed to 13 last season. Teams such as the Phillies and Rangers still could exceed that sum. But clearly, the market is depressed. Things presumably will be different next off-season, when the free agent class will include Jack Arrieta, Yu Darvish, Eric Hosmer, Lawrence